If you're new to my channel, my name is Michelle Moreus, and I make art tutorials that are fun, easy, and accessible for everyone. If you're returning, welcome back. Today's tutorial is a York peppermint patty wrapper in alcohol markers. In this case, we're using Ohuhu alcohol markers, and I'm using all of the cool grays in this exercise, and we're going to augment it with a little bit of colored pencil, but this is mostly an alcohol marker project. So I'm starting with my lightest of the grays that I swatched out ahead of time. Always swatch out your markers ahead of time, because the way that it looks on the barrel of the marker and the tip of the marker is not the way it comes out sometimes. So you always want to swatch those on a separate piece of paper and put the numbers next to them, so that when you're going in to find a color, you look for the number, on the cap, and this way you're not going to mess up your drawing. So I start really lightly with my lightest tones, and then I gradually build up to my darker grays. So in this case, I'm using about 4 different grays, and we're just building up slowly. Now with alcohol markers, you can get several tones out of one marker. And the reason for this is the more that you go over that marker, the darker it's going to get. So you could start out light and then keep going over it, and it will deepen. So you can get several tones out of one marker. We do have a full set that I'm working with in these Ohuhus. I have a set of 200, so I have so many colors, but it's not necessary to have that many colors. You can really get a lot of tonal range out of just a few markers. So when you're doing a realistic or a hyper-realistic drawing like this, you want to make sure that you really get your lettering pretty precise, because that is going to make it look real or make it look like a drawing. So you want to make sure that you really get that sketch down, and you are being careful following around those letters. So I'm going in with the blue, and I'm going to deepen that up with a little bit of colored pencil in a little bit. But right now we're just kind of color mapping where everything's going to go, and then we will clean it up with the colored pencil and just deepen up that blue a little bit. So with markers, you really want to start with a little bit lighter color than the color you ultimately want to end up with. And the reason for this is because you won't be able to lighten it. You can darken it, but you won't be able to lighten it. So you want to definitely start with a little bit lighter, and you can see as I'm working into that wrapper to make it look shiny metallic silver, we're going in slowly, and we're just going to gradually deepen up all of those areas that need to be deeper. But you definitely want to start lighter, and then you can always deepen something up, but it's really hard to really lighten. You can go in with a little white colored pencil, but it's still not going to be as crisp and as clean as if you just really go slowly and build up gradually. So the secret to hyper-realistic drawing really is a good reference photo. You want to use a reference that has really high contrast. So it has really bright highlights and really deep shadows. And this really makes it pop off the page and makes it look really 3D, especially when we go in at the end and we add the shadow in. It's going to look really metallic and really 3D. If you're new to alcohol markers, you can check out my video on doing the lemon tree in Ohuhu alcohol markers, and I'll link that above. You can click on that, and I kind of give you a tutorial on how to blend them and how to work with the markers themselves. So you might want to check that out if you're a beginner to this project. I know people always ask me how long it took me to do this drawing. It took 1 hour and 39 minutes of total drawing time. I did take a few breaks in between. You need to stretch your legs sometimes, and sometimes you just need to step away and put some fresh eyes on it, and take a little break. But 1 hour and 39 minutes, so it was a fairly quick drawing, but I did take my time with it, and I am building everything up really gradually. So I've gone over, there's some words that go underneath that York, and I'm going to put those in with a white Jelly Roll pen. I decided it was easier than trying to go around them with the marker, because the words underneath that York are very, very thin. So it's a lot easier just to go in with a Jelly Roll pen in the end. So we're just building up all of our tones, and you'll see that things are going to start to pop soon now, because we're adding in our deeper shadows, and we're going to go even further with this as we go along. So you want to make sure that you don't stop too soon, and that you keep pushing. Always push your values. You want to just keep pushing it as far as you can go without overworking it. So a little trick with these markers is, you start to put down some different tones of grays in here, and then you go back to your lightest tone of gray, and you can blend those together. So it takes a little time sometimes, but if you take that lightest shade of gray that we started with, and you go over the darker grays that we've now put down, you can blend all that together. The alcohol does the work for you. So it just takes a little bit of practice and a little bit of time. And if you watch that beginning tutorial with the lemon tree, you'll see what I'm doing with those lighter markers on top of the darker markers. It's just kind of blending everything together and giving it more of a seamless look. Now I'm going in with some blue colored pencil, and I'm just deepening up all of that blue of that label in the middle. And the reason for this is it's a lot easier with a sharp colored pencil to get around all those words and make it nice and crisp and clean. Sometimes the markers don't have enough of a point on them to really get into that detail, so we can do that with a real sharp colored pencil, and we're just going to clean that up and really make it pop. I'm also going to be using this sharp colored pencil for the words on the bottom. I think it says milk chocolate on the bottom. And we're using that nice sharp colored pencil just so that we get a nice clean, clear wording on the bottom. This just adds to the realistic look of it. And I'm also going in with some darker grays. Actually, they're more of a blue-gray color. And just kind of blending in that color pencil with the marker and just adding some more detail in with that nice sharp point. So we're really going to start to push our values at this point. So anything that's really, really dark, we're going to make even darker, and this will offset the really bright, crisp whites of our highlights. So you can see it's really starting to look metallic and 3D, and we're just going to push those values as far as we can go. If you stop too soon, you're going to miss the real punch of the drawing. So you want to keep going and keep pushing, and make sure you have those stark contrasts between your dark shadows and your bright white highlights. Now I'm mushing in those colors now with a little bit of white color pencil. And this is just going to reinforce our highlights there. So the wrapper has some shape to it. So where it kind of creases, you're going to see a little bit of shadow, and where those ridges are on the end of the wrapper, they're going to reflect the light in a certain way. So you're going to see some of the ridges in some parts, and some parts you're not going to see it. It just depends on how the light is reflecting off of that. And this is the reason why you want to use a really good reference photo to work from. So you want to have that stark contrast, and it just adds to the realism. From time to time, you'll see me when I'm using color pencil, I use a little brush just to brush those color pencil crumbs off the page. Normally, I would have a piece of paper under my hand, but for video's sake, I want you to be able to see exactly what I'm doing and how I'm doing it, so I don't use that. And sometimes I tend to drag my hand around a little bit, and those color pencil crumbs will smudge on your background. So you just want to be careful of that, and every now and again go in with either a kneaded eraser or a brush and brush those away so that you're not smearing your paper. The other thing I want to talk about is the kind of paper that you use. When you're using alcohol markers, Copic markers, Ohuhu, whatever you're using, the alcohol can bleed through the paper if your paper isn't thick enough. So I'm using a nice Bristol smooth paper, using Strathmore 400 series, and it really has a nice weight to it. So you really can put a lot of layers of color pencil and of marker down, and you're not going to have a problem with it bleeding through the page. And you're also going to get a crisp, clean line because the Bristol paper just handles that marker really well. If you use too porous of the paper, your markers might bleed out and you won't get a real crisp line, and it's going to be hard to stay in the lines of your lettering and all of that. So just be aware that, the paper choice really is an important choice to make. If you're enjoying today's tutorial, I'd really love it if you would subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any new content. I put out a new video every Thursday, and I would love it if you would smash that like button. YouTube loves it when we get interaction with our followers, and I love it too, and I'd love you to leave a comment for me. I enjoy hearing from each and every one of you, and I do get back to everybody. So leave me a comment and smash that like button. We are going to be putting in a nice shadow now. This is going to really make the drawing pop off the page. So I'm going in with a blending stump, and I'm going to use some charcoal pencil. So I'm using a very soft lead charcoal pencil, which is going to give me a nice deep dark shadow underneath that wrapper. And then we're going to go in and we're going to blend it out with a blending stump and give us a nice deep shadow and a nice cast shadow. So here's where it really starts to pop off the page and look really realistic. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. I'm enjoying myself immensely doing this for you guys. You can check out my work on Patreon, where you can get longer tutorials. You can get the whole thing. I give you the reference image, the sketch, and the materials list. So thanks so much for joining me, and happy art.